Did you know our podcast is also available over on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, and Radio Public? All great ways to listen to Lore of the Ring on the go. Those uploads are also sponsored, so listening over there is a great way to support the show as well. Links are in the description. Hello, welcome to Lore of the Ring, where I describe wrestling lore to my co-host. I'm Dan.
I'm Daphne.
And today normally we're covering a specific storyline. I kind of want to do a flyover of a couple things that it's more difficult to do a whole episode about. So the first thing, we were talking about how we always end up on wrestlers' social media, so I did want to start this episode off by looking at a specific wrestler's social media.
Good, okay, I'm already down.
Okay, so the wrestler that we're going to look at his social media, and he has been once voted the 33rd worst person on Twitter, it's the Iron Sheik.
Oh god, wait, I've seen his Twitter, okay.
So, what do you know about the Iron Sheik?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I got the impression that the Iron Sheik kind of was like... Is the Iron Sheik not one of those, like, heels whose whole thing is, oh, they're foreign? Like, I kind of got the vibe that the Iron Sheik was one of the more heel characters who's just like, oh yeah, they're just not from here, and that's why they're the bad guy.
Yeah, he was one of the top heels from the Hogan era, which featured a lot of the foreign heel gimmick. He frequently teamed with Russian wrestler Nikolai Volkov, whose gimmick was that he was a communist.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, he's from that general era of the foreign heel. When many people think of the foreign heel, like we talked, I think, after the episode about the Futurama joke, how it's clearly like he's kind of modeled, like the robot's mustache is definitely modeled on Sheik.
Yeah, and his name is just the Foreigner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I went through his tweets, and I felt it would be fun to play a little game with it, where I've arranged them into the ones around a similar theme. Got 2 real ones and 1 fake one, and you have to guess which one.
Oh my god, hell yes. Okay, cool. I'm so ready for this.
So the first one, I want to start a little bit in your territory because he has a lot of tweets about Frozen.
Okay. Well, or outing me as a Frozen stan in the first, 2 minutes of this episode. That's fair.
None of these are necessarily positive tweets, but they're not critiques. They're just vibes.
Okay.
They're absolutely rancid vibes.
All right, cool. I'm in.
Okay. The first tweet of his Frozen category is, "I beat the fuck of Snowman in the movie The Frozen Yogurt." Second one is, "What movie better, Frozen 2 or Let Me Break Your Fucking Neck, Suplex You Big Time Jabroni 4?
Whoa.
And the third one, "Fuck reindeer, think he's better than people, no one better than Sheiky Baby."
I think the third one is fake.
Yep, that one's the fake one.
Yeah. I don't, for some reason, I was like, I feel like he wouldn't refer to himself as Sheiky Baby. Maybe he does. He does
refer to himself as Sheiky Baby, though.
Okay, so I was right, but for the wrong, I picked up on the wrong thing. Okay.
When I tried to do with that one, it's like, there's no way he would know the song.
Oh, yeah, no, that was part of it, too. I was like, first of all, that's very specific. It's slightly off in the sense that the song was not sung by a reindeer. So, it felt, I don't know, it was like, I think this one is purposely slightly off from what it actually is referring to, and it also is too specific at the same time, if that makes sense. So that was kind of like, yeah. Okay, cool, so that's one for me, I guess.
Okay, so next one, these are all replies to tweets from McDonald's.
Okay.
So every time he comes across, I think every time he sees a McDonald's ad, something becomes infuriated in him. Um, this first one is it response to a tweet that was promoting the McChicken. He said, "Fuck you at McDonald's, fuck your McChicken, and fuck your mother, you dumb son of a bitch." Second one is a reply to a McGriddle tweet where he just said, "At McDonald's McShittle."
All right.
Third one, this is the only one that hasn't been written in all caps, is at McDonald's, "Shut the fuck up, the people shit their pants when they eat your food."
Ooh, okay. I'm a little torn because I feel like the fact that this one is not in all caps might lead me to believe that it's the fake one. But I kind of want to say the second one. I think I'm going to say the second one is the fake one.
The second one is the fake one.
Yes! Excellent. Okay.
Was McShittle too much like a thing I would say?
It was too much a thing. Yes, first of all, it was too much a thing that you would say. And secondly, I don't know. It wasn't aggressive enough. The fact that it was one word, it just wasn't, I don't know. It had more damn than it had iron chic.
This next one, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a full like theme.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of follow a common like kind of pattern, this one. The first one is Full House good, but fuck the jabroni Kimmy.
Oh god, okay.
Second one, fuck Breaking Bad, only Breaking Back make Walter White humble.
Alright.
Third one, fuck the Zelda, fuck the Tetris, fuck the jabroni Pac-Man, only game I play is WrestleFest, Bubba.
Oh, this is another one where I'm a little torn. Oh man. I'm so far I'm 2 for 2 and I don't want to break my streak, but like I feel like this is where I'm gonna guess wrong. Can I hear the last two one more time?
Fuck Breaking Bad, only Breaking Back make Walter White humble. And fuck Zelda, fuck Tetris, fuck the jabroni Pac-Man, only game I play is WrestleFest, Bubba.
Okay. Oh man, I'm gonna say the third one. I'm gonna get it wrong when I'm gonna say the third one.
The third one is real.
Damn it! I knew it. Which one was the fake one?
The fake one was fuck Breaking Bad.
I knew. Man, I knew it. Okay, damn it.
I do like that he specifically tweeted about Full House. I'm wondering what kind of day he was having.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, depending on the time frame, this could have been when the Fuller House reboot came out, which I will never do a podcast about because, good heavens,
God.
I did not enjoy any of my Full House experience enough to talk about it, so yeah.
Just the sequel Full House you had issues with?
Well, okay, I don't think either of them are particularly good, but I think that Fuller House, the sequel, I think it's particularly insulting in the ways that it tries to get nostalgia out of its viewers, because it's very common for a sitcom like, let's say, Girl Meets World, the follow-up of Boy Meets World. You tricked me into talking about this. With like Girl Meets World, you know, there are callbacks to previous episodes of the original series. There are scenarios where a specific character talks about a previous episode or a relationship is similar to one from the original show. But only Fuller House, that I can recall, actually played footage of the original Full House television show next to footage of the current television show to make sure you knew that when these three characters were singing to a baby, it was because the three dads sang to a baby in episode 1 of the original show. Like, literally just side-by-side pictures of both these things happening simultaneously. And I found that to be so, like, condescending and so blatant in its trying to get our nostalgia going, that I just was really irritated. And then, you know, I, of course, watched the full season of the show anyway because I was watching it as, like, background noise as I was playing Dark Souls 2. And it just...
What a combination.
Yeah, I really just wanted to suffer in as many ways as I possibly could. I was going through a lot of stuff that year. And, I just like to drop weird things like that when I'm explaining why I was doing two terrible things at once. I actually really like Dark Souls 2, but it's not anybody's favorite Dark Souls game, sadly.
Unless their name is H-Bomber Guy.
Oh, well, yeah, and he's correct about how good Dark Souls 2 is, but that's another podcast entirely. But I watched all of it, and it's like, it has this really boring love triangle. It has some really contrived conflict, obviously, because it's a sequel / reboot of one of the most contrived sitcoms that ever was. It's just not good. I just didn't like it. And for those of you who don't know this, I spent a lot of 2020 especially, watching full series of sitcoms, focusing primarily on Black-centric sitcoms like Family Matters and Sister Sister. But I also, there's going to be car sounds on my audio because there's a really loud motorcycle outside my apartment building right now.
That's fine. There's a lightning bolt in one of the other episodes for me.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I remember warning you we didn't need to record if there was a tornado, but I remember that very vividly because Catherine looked over at me like, "Is Dan okay?" as we were recording that one. Oh God, how did I get here? How did I get to Full House from here?
We were on Family Matters at this point.
Okay. Well, no, because I've always had it in mind that I want to write something about the way that those shows portray classism in Black communities, because it's very interesting to dissect. And it might be a video essay, it might be like an article or something, but that's along that same vein. I was watching all of Fuller House, even though I didn't like it, because I wanted to see if there was something there worth analyzing and discussing. And what I found, that's disgusting. And what I found I was not interested in and did not enjoy, and then I gave up on it before I finished the final season, and I also never finished Dark Souls 2. The end.
Oh my God. Which one is the cat I keep photoshopping Garfield as from?
Oh, that's from... Alvina is from Dark Souls 1. She's an NPC that I think has a really interesting backstory, which I will not get into because I don't want to take us on another tangent this early.
I mean, I enjoy the tangents.
Well, we'll take turns. I'll tell you about my scattered Dark Souls knowledge a little bit later on if you want.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it Family Matters canon to Full House?
Yes, actually. Family Matters is canon to both Full House and at least one other show. I believe it might be Step by Step. There's an episode where... there's an episode of Family Matters where it ends with Urkel being, like, taken off into the sky by one of his inventions. And when he lands in the front yard of another sitcom family's home. He's done both. The step-by-step thing was when he landed in their front yard. And the Full House thing was just I don't even remember how he's there. I may be mixing these two up, but from what I recall, I want to say he was just there to, like... It was because Stephanie was feeling bad about having to wear glasses, and Urkel's a famous glasses-wearing person. So he just kind of popped up to give her a pep talk and talk to her about comedy and stuff. I think that was the episode where he lands on their front lawn, because I think he just is at their front door when that episode begins, and someone opens the door and lets him into the Full House. I think the Step-by-Step episode is a different thing, but I've not watched Step-by-Step.
So, I'm
sorry.
While you were explaining that, I was also finding ways for this to loop back around.
Mm-hmm.
So, Urkel has met Scooby-Doo.
Yes, that's correct.
And Scooby-Doo has met the WWE, and also exists on both sides of that canon, both in the real life and the cartoon canon.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in depth. And also, there's an episode of Family Matters where he meets and does a match against... Urkel has a wrestling match against the WWF wrestlers, the Bushwhackers.
They're actual wrestlers?
Yes.
I wondered. I remember that episode, and I didn't at the time know enough about wrestling it didn't even occur to me to wonder, like, are these real characters? Are these actually, wrestlers? So I never thought about that. Yeah. Cool. So, well, you brought it back around, despite my best efforts.
Yeah, full circle. So, final group of Sheik's tweets that we're going to play this game with.
Okay.
So, Iron Sheik hates Hulk Hogan probably more than any person on the planet.
Oh, God, absolutely. That's one thing I always knew. I think I was born aware of that somehow.
So, I have 3 tweets.
Okay.
And then afterwards, I also have some bonus tweets, which
Hell yes.
are extremely funny.
Okay.
First of the 3 tweets we're guessing from, fuck Hulk Hogan, can't even handle full-size dog.
Don't even try to bullshit us.
Second one is, Hulk Hogan's sex tape is Stuart Little movie, and my sex tape movie is Jurassic Park.
What? I think I'm following that one. I don't like the visual it's creating in my head, but I'm following the logic of that tweet.
And then the final one, Hulk Hogan, you are worse than automatic 20% tip on party 6 or more.
Wow.
Sheik was having a specific type of day.
He was having a very specific type of day. I'm not gonna lie, the specificity makes me wonder if this was a Dan joint. I'm tempted to guess. I always do this. Now, customarily, there's a point in this game where all the tweets are real, like is like a red herring. But I'm gonna say, can I hear the first one more time?
Fuck Hulk Hogan, can't even handle full-size dog.
Full-size dog, that's right, thank you. Man. I think I'm gonna say the third one.
The third one is real?
Man.
The first one was fake.
Damn it, I'm 2 for 5. Man, I should have known. Because I was like, for a second, I was like, the first one is almost a really good callback, and that's a very Dan thing to do, is do a callback to something we talked about previously that we both just kind of went off on for a while. Man, I never listened to my first instinct on these. I did with the first 2.
Yeah.
Well, boo, okay. A 50% is still an A, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, when it comes to Sheik, just being able to detect him right away, that's an A.
You know what? That's fair.
So I also picked to start the first one with fuck Hulk Hogan, because one of my favorite Sheik moments was, I think it was back when shows like Attack of the Show were still a thing, like pop culture and news shows, and it was either after Randy Savage or The Ultimate Warrior had just died.
Okay.
And so while they were talking about their career, they were scrolling tweets from wrestlers across the bottom where people were mourning. And then I see at the Iron Sheik, it scrolls over. First words of that tweet are "fuck Hulk Hogan," and they have to take the ticker down.
That's wonderful.
That's like a common thing when someone dies, is that he's always like, "It should have been Hulk Hogan."
I really respect that energy. I think... who among us has not heard of a celebrity death and thought, damn it should have been that guy?
Some other bonus ones. I should have broken the jabroni Hulk Hogan fucking leg when I had the chance. The second one is in reference to when Hulk Hogan was caught saying slurs in his sex tape, which led to the Stuart Little comment later.
Oh, yeah.
He's an Iron Sheik said, Hulk Hogan, what the fuck you talk about my black brother, with 5 question marks. Which was then immediately followed the same day. All these 3 tweets were made the same day, actually. It was the broken leg, he commented on the use of slur, and then the third one he says, who want to see the legend replace the howdy doody Hulk Hogan in the at WWE Tough Enough? Give me hell yeah.
God, the energy just coming from these tweets is incredible. Yeah,
there's another one that was only back in November, and it's just the funniest, like, energy that's been, because it's so specific, and it reads like a fake one I would make, but it's real. Mm-hmm. Hulk Hogan, you are worse than the decision to see what make that noise outside in the Jason movie.
That's really strong.
I'm just imagining you saw a Friday the 13th poster while being consumed with a hate for Hulk Hogan and just like madly tweeted it out.
I think hate for Hulk Hogan is apparently his natural state, and I kind of respect that.
So there's also another Twitter incident that I like that happened, again involving Hulk Hogan. This was around the slur scandal. So wrestler Virgil, who is a black wrestler, tried to defend Hogan's use of racial slurs, saying, "Don't be taking Hulk Hogan's words out of context. That man has done more for me than anyone else." Context for things about Virgil, his character that he played for his duration of majority of WWE, he was bodyguard / manservant for $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. So the optics of a wrestler who mainly played what would be the equivalent of a slave role, defending you for saying racial slurs, isn't the best thing.
Yeah, that's not great. Virgil, honey, what are you doing?
And then Hogan first just says, like, "Thank you, my brother Virgil, only love," and he signs his tweet because he's old.
Yeah.
And then Sheik tweets at Virgil, says, "Hello, at the real Virgil," and then chipes jabroni 20 times.
I clearly don't have enough Iron Sheik energy in my tweets. Like, I'm really realizing there's a deficit in the aggression that I use when I talk about stuff.
Yeah, there are 2 videos that I really like from him that they're the only videos he's, like, ever, like, filmed. First, he's, like, looking into the camera and goes, "Jelly bean," and then it, like, cuts to, like, a thing of jelly beans, and then he goes, "Fuck the jelly bean." And then the last 2 seconds is him just staring at a single jelly bean he's holding.
I mean, he's right. It's true, and he should say it.
Yeah. There's also another one that used to make its round on Tumblr every Monday. He goes, "Monday? Fuck the Monday. Friday? I love the Friday."
How have I not seen that? I've been on Tumblr since, like, 2009.
Probably just my specific circle. It just spread through.
Most
and
likely.
then he's like, "Tuesday? Fuck the Tuesday. Saturday!" And then the video ends.
That's really cute, actually.
It's just like I clipped the mic. I look back at my audio.
Good.
Oh, I clipped it severely. That's going to be fun to edit.
It's a kind of a tradition for us to either peak the audio levels or just clip the mic entirely.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Sheik's fun. He's not invited to a lot of WWE functions anymore.
I feel like we should invite him to our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem a little obvious, but at the same time, I'm enjoying the energy he's bringing from, a layperson's perspective.
Yeah. So, I have another game planned, but I wanted to know, because we go through a bunch of episodes, do you have any, like, specific questions about wrestling? Because we play pretty fast and loose with my storytelling or concepts. Any, like, specific things you've heard anyone in chat mention, or just, like...
Well, I know there are... Oh, sorry.
So, I'm sorry, you go ahead. It was just, like, any questions about, like, other things I talked about.
Well, I know that there are some things we want to save for full episodes. I know that I think we talked about doing the Montreal Screwjob as a full episode, or at the very least, I think you talked about giving me more detail on that later. So I don't have to do that one. I did wonder what DDT stands for, because I know that one of McFoley's finishers is a double arm DDT, and I'm like, what's a DDT?
So, it's... The last 2 letters are death drop. That's...
Oh, okay.
Okay, no, it's draped. It has a bunch of different meanings.
Okay, it's one of those.
So because different people, there's death drop technique, downward dome thrust, drop downtown, drape down, take down. One of my favorites, Damien's Dinner Time, which is because Jake the Snake Roberts' pet python's name was Damien.
Oh, I didn't know that. I should have thought to ask what the snake's name was.
He's had a couple snakes, but it's Damien is the one that I think was around when he like first started. So I think pretty much I've covered the majority of the screw job. It's just that the screw job led to other things happening in WCW. Did you have any like specific questions about that?
Um, no, I don't remember enough about the circumstances behind it to like have specific questions. I was more gonna like I thought about like, well, I remember hearing about this in very brief, and I wondered more about it. But if we've already covered that one, I don't want to retread that whole thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. I gotta tell you, it's the thing is that when I go back and I listen to these, because I listen, every day when it comes out, I listen later on in my evening after work. I feel like what always happens is it's not through any fault of yours. We just sometimes we don't spend that long on asking the questions and stuff because the actual narrative itself was interesting enough that it led us to some other point of discussion. It just prompts a bunch of different ideas and thoughts and stuff, and so we don't always go back for questions unless they're very incredulous ones coming from me, because we're kind of in that place of like, we've got a really good momentum going to keep dissecting whatever it is that we're talking about. So like looking back through my notes, there's always a point in my notes where I stop taking them because I want to focus fully on, I take notes on the context basically, and then the actual full story that you're giving me, I'm usually actively listening to and not writing down because I don't want to miss any of it. And then I'll write down dumb comments I want to make or jokes I want to say if I get a chance, just so I don't forget them. All of which is to say, I'm having trouble figuring out other questions to ask. I feel like there was a tangential question I had about a specific group of wrestlers, but I probably could just Google it. So I don't know if we want to waste time on that. I'm trying to think of
groups of wrestlers we talked about. Like, there's NWO, DX at one point, very briefly.
Yeah. Well, this wasn't a group that got mentioned on the podcast. It was more like, I'm aware these guys exist in wrestling, and I don't know anything about them. And they were fairly contemporary, as far as I'm aware. It was those guys that I just remember them dressing in like Super Saiyan armor that one time.
The New Day.
Like, okay,
yeah, I
was like, who are these guys? Do we want to save the New Day for another day?
I think just with the amount of notes I have, I can do a full flyover of the New Day.
Okay.
So the New Day is Kofi Kingston, who's one of Sheldon's favorites, Xavier Woods, and Big E. Again, Big E, the one that Cena likes to Photoshop Big E's face on. They're currently not together because of the brand split. One got moved to... they moved him to a different brand because Big E is a very large buff man, which is Vince McMahon's favorite thing. So they're giving him a solo run right now. So any like specific questions about like kind of what their deal is, or should I just give a basic flyover?
Let's do the basic flyover, just because the sole piece of information I have is that the internet really seemed to love them and that they got a lot of fan art for their Saiyan armor photo shoot. It's like, that's the full extent of my knowledge. I forgot they were called the New Day, is how little I know.
Yeah, so when they first formed, their original gimmick is... it's hard to break it down, because the way they kind of like... First, I'm just going to go over kind of... Because Xavier Woods and Big E were kind of new, and Kofi Kingston had been around a long time. Kofi Kingston's first gimmick he got saddled with was that he was Jamaican. He was distinctly not Jamaican, so he was doing a Jamaican accent the whole time.
Oh, man.
But he accidentally dropped using the accent on microphone, and and he was in the room with like in the ring with like John Cena, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels, where Triple H comedically pointed out, "Hey, aren't you Jamaican?"
Oh, that's really good.
So that kind of allowed him to branch out to other things. So at one point they were bad, like as most teams, and there were like some like things of how like it was introduced where it kind of made it look kind of like a bit like The Nation, which we described, where it was kind of like inspired by Black Power movements and them using that in a villainous role, which obviously doesn't work with a majority of the audience now.
It's not a great look, yeah.
But basically, just through like them being like, they changed it to their thing was the power of positivity, and they were still like kind of villainous, but people just kind of started to like them. They liked that they were kind of silly and had these like huge comedic spots, and dressed in bright colors, and were very engaged with the audience. They used to do a thing where I think they still do it if only one of them is in the match, because again they're split now and only Xavier and Kofi are together, where Xavier, who's not participating at the match, has a trombone and is just blowing it outside the ring, either using it as a distraction or a weapon. My favorite thing was someone's head was like hanging over the ropes and the referee was pushing Kofi back, and then Xavier went right up to the wrestler's head and just blew really hard in his ear.
I mean, you kind of gotta. God, that's really good.
And they do plenty of the costume stuff, like them all dressing as Vegeta. Let me see if I can find any other of their fun costumes.
I think they did like a breakfast cereal box thing once. I know they were like, I think there was like a big fake cereal box. When they were the Saiyans, they came out of the cereal box. Oh, okay.
That cereal was a real thing you could buy at FYE.
Oh, I think I heard about that. Somehow that at least got on my radar. Is like, whatever the cereal is, it's real. Real. Anyway.
There's plenty of different, like, parts of their gimmick, including, like I mentioned, like, they, at one point, they were, like, in the beginning, you gotta say they're a bit like The Nation. They did a bit where they dressed up as The Nation members.
Okay, that's pretty good.
And also, a lot of those three are also like big into like nerd culture. Like they showed up to a convention, cosplaying characters from Black Panther.
Okay, nice.
Xavier also live streams, and sometimes he live streams with other wrestlers, which is, it's fun to watch because you kind of see them really, they're all like kind of drop their character for it. I don't know if WWE seizes their income from that. I'm led to believe from the most recent contract I read, they are technically doing it under purview of WWE.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that's something where they just skim off as much as they can from anything that they do outside of wrestling.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Their main aesthetic is like... when they were together, it's like unicorns was a big part of their aesthetic. They're really fun. There's plenty of storylines they were involved in. For a while, they had them going against the Wyatt family, and they had Kofi and Big E treating them like jokes, but Xavier was like really scared, and it looked like Xavier was going to be like psychologically tortured into being a villain, but he like overcame it. So it's fun what they do with New Day.
Can't you be more like Kofi, John Cena?
They also did another thing when I think Big E and Xavier were tag team champions and Kofi was WWE champion. It was at a show that I think I went to live. Them and another tag team set up additional announce tables where they all were, so the real announcers and those two teams were all trying to commentate at the same time.
That's wonderful. Oh my god.
And the New Day came out with pancakes and were throwing pancakes into the audience.
God.
It was really fun. Yeah, I have a picture of...
Ooh, excellent.
I don't think this was the specific moment, but this was a time where they set up an additional announce table to commentate at the same time.
That's so good. There's pancakes again. That's really good.
The one I went to, it did get flipped, and the pancakes went everywhere.
Oh, naturally.
And Sheldon jokingly screamed, "No!"
I would have done the exact same thing.
Recently, they're not together anymore, but there's a funny bit Big E did, because he's Intercontinental Champion, or was at this point. It's hard for me to keep track of wrestling. There's a lot going on.
Oh, God, I can imagine.
He was doing something called an open challenge thing, where every week he'd come out and challenge a new person in the locker room to go for his title. It's a good way of getting people over, or like seeing returning legends come back. Cena did that with the US title, and it's a good way to get people screen time who don't normally have screen time, and not have to worry about doing a whole storyline with them.
Yeah, that was how we. That was the framing of Cena's first match, right? That was the whole thing with CM Punk.
Not with CM Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle, thank you. I don't know where Punk came from.
Because Punk has a lot of history with Cena, too. So.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, no, the whole Kurt Angle thing was he was just challenging anybody in the locker room.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that's a pretty popular framing device. But it was like someone kept challenging and they kept losing, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to accept it from you again." But so like that guy interfered in the match he did do that day and got the person challenging disqualified. So the next time it was the person that got disqualified and the person who kept challenging and losing against. And Big E was commentating, but he had a lazy boy and one of those like like those like foot bath things.
Oh
and
my God.
And he had a Hungry Man TV dinner and was just like commentating and eating and watching.
That is so good. Oh my God.
Their bits are extremely funny. They're probably like, they exude just like the charisma that like a lot of the roster probably can't.
I'm getting very like chaotic millennials vibes from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any other questions you had or things you'd seen that you wanted to know about?
I had a very brief follow-up to something from all the way back in the Mick Foley episode, actually. Just because I forgot that we never followed up on this thread, but like you mentioned that the mandible claw was invented by Sam Shepard.
Yes.
What, like, did calling himself Killer Sam Shepard, like, did that have any legal ramifications for him? That's like OJ publishing a book called If I Did It. Like, what was his, like, trajectory like, and was there more legal issues for him? Like, holy shit.
There were no more legal issues. He didn't live long after his career had started.
Okay.
He made a big impact, but he left this world very quickly after that.
Burned brightly and twice as quickly.
he burned as brightly and shined on Mick Foley.
There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. I just wondered, because not knowing where that ended, I was like, we could do a whole episode on just this, assuming that there was so much more to that other different story, and there was not. So we didn't need to do a whole episode on just that, it turns out.
And plus 50s indie wrestling is very difficult to follow because some records just aren't kept. Like, I do believe, like, the records are so hard to keep track of. I do believe one of the people who was in charge of WWE TV for a long time, still not sure if he is or isn't, was just a person whose, like, dad saved a lot of tapes from burning. So, which is like the equivalent of if Universal let a guy direct 100 movies because they found a copy of London After Midnight. Which, framing it like that to me has changed my opinion on it. I think it's good and okay.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, actually. I had that recalled Little Mermaid VHS. I should be able to direct some Disney movies.
Yeah. My brain is trying to combine the words cock and castle. It's just not working out.
Let me know if you come up with anything there. I'm just being supportive. You don't have to tell me.
Oh my god. It's not picking up me laughing, but it is on Audacity, so that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just going to assume that you're laughing when Discord doesn't send it to me. I think that's going to be better for my self-esteem overall.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Were there any other additional questions? Because
no,
okay.
no. I think I'm questioned out for the time being. I'm excited to learn more about whatever is next.
Okay, so next thing we're gonna play a game of why did that work?
Oh right, okay, yeah, we wanted to do this one.
So I'm gonna go through some gimmicks I consider absurd, but also may have worked. You also have to guess whether or not how successful this gimmick was.
Okay, cool.
So I'm gonna say for this first one, I'm gonna start very simple. I'm gonna say his name, and you just guess what his gimmick was.
Okay.
Jimmy Wang Yang.
I'm gonna guess this was like fake kung fu moves and stuff. I'm getting the vibe of like, let's be kind of culturally insensitive and do kung fu something.
So you got a point of it where this is an Asian wrestler.
Yeah.
But his gimmick is that he was an Asian redneck.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'd say points for originality, but that's just points for getting creative with the dartboard you throw things at to determine the gimmick.
So, because they did like introductory vignettes for him, which is usually something for big stars. Like former Vampire Edge had a bunch of vignettes when he was debuting, but he also asked what his deal was, and every time he asked the writers that, they were like, no one was telling Edge what. Edge had weeks of vignettes, and then he concussed and knocked out his opponent, and his match ended in no contest.
Jeez.
That was how Edge's first match went.
Good for him.
But Jimmy Wang Yang's vignettes were like talking about like, people assume I like stereotypically Asian things, but I'm more of a redneck. Which from a different group of people, I could have seen that's like a good faith depiction of a concept. That's
almost frustrating because there are populations of Asian people in southern states and in specific regions of North America where you may not expect for them to be, or would stereotypically assume that they would not go or be part of. So you could do something really interesting with that, and I am certain that no one did.
Yeah, I'm led to believe that Vince just thought the idea of an Asian cowboy was funny.
Oh, naturally.
So how do you think this went over?
I do not believe that it went over.
So
I don't think this was good.
Yeah, he debuted around the time I described, where SmackDown was lacking talent, so they were bringing in people extremely quickly. He served as kind of a low card act around where Vince kind of shoved the cruiserweight division after they inherited it from WCW. This is a good also time for me to bring up. You remember how I said the cruiserweight division in WCW was looked on very favorably, and it was just as like popular as the main card. Vince kind of pushed it down the card slowly over in the years because he didn't think seeing smaller guys wrestle was interesting.
Gotcha. Okay, that sounds like a Vince choice.
So he was kind of in the cruiserweight division. He went for tag team titles, and for some reason, a lot of the times the WWE writers don't know how to write stories for tag teams. So the tag team titles kind of just sometimes pass hands without incident, and like it's just like these two teams trade them back and forth for a few weeks.
Okay.
So they didn't have a lot of narrative importance with that. He ended up leaving WWE after he failed the wellness policy, got injured, and then was let go.
Jeez, okay.
So he was there for 4 years, but not a lot of success. At least he got paid.
Yeah, good for him for getting paid. That's fair. That's about what I would have expected.
Yeah, so this next one, I want to show you a video of this one. You may have seen people in chat joke about this incident.
Okay.
So let me know when you're in.
I have arrived.
Okay. So that was the Shockmaster.
Is he on purpose? Is he supposed to lie? What?
What's your favorite part of him? What's your favorite part of his existence?
I don't know if favorite is the right word to describe the feeling I have about this person. I think it's the voice, if only because for like a second, for whatever reason, I thought that you were doing a voice over the video, and I was like,
God.
wait, this is... I don't know. At first, I was like, is that Dan? And I was like, no, that's an actual, like, wrestler thing happening right now. What? What? That...
So it wasn't... It was a different person.
I mean... That's like a $7 costume and like an early The Dark Knight Bane impression that hasn't quite figured itself out yet. Like, what?
Did you like the bedazzled stormtrooper helmet that he was wearing?
I think that was the part that angered me the most, if only because... I explain it to me. What was the helmet about? Why? Who did this?
So he was he was supposed to be a serious wrestler at first.
Okay.
So he's portrayed by wrestler Fred Ottoman, who already had success of one half of a team called the Natural Disasters, where he wrestled as a wrestler named Typhoon, and he partnered with another wrestler named Earthquake. They wanted to repackage him as a big badass. This obviously did not work because he tripped.
So they seriously thought that the bedazzled stormtrooper mask and that voice and the open vest were going to make him scary?
I don't know what they were conceptualizing.
Nothing about this. Like, every single individual element of this fails on a conceptual level and on an execution level. Like, I don't... Nothing about what I was just presented with seems like it would have been successful as a part of anybody's gimmick. I'm just so baffled as to why this took place.
I'm very curious to see what they would have done if he didn't trip, because it seemed to be him tripping and losing the helmet that killed it.
I think that he would have gone on to be revealed as Vince McMahon's other secret son.
Oh my god.
Think about that.
So, they're talking, like, big about him being, like, the partner at War Games. That character did not make it to War Games in the way it was depicted there. They repackaged him as a klutz and made the character an electrician.
Oh. That's slightly better.
They kept the name Shockmaster. So he's just an electrician who thinks very highly of his job, I assume.
I mean, or he doesn't care about the safety risks present in his job.
So this obviously didn't go well over in the moment, but it's kind of become a little infamous. So it's
for good reason.
Yeah, so it's become retroactively over well. This next one I'm going to describe to you. It's also going to explain. I'm going to explain a bit of like a concept or just a term. Have you ever heard the term legacy wrestler?
I feel like I have, and I don't think I heard it with enough context to guess at what it might mean. It's vaguely familiar to me, though.
So it's someone whose family has basically been in the business a very long time.
Okay, so I was right.
Yeah,
That's
it's
Maxwell Hardy someday.
Yeah. It's generally only brought up when WWE, that person competed in WWE. Very rarely is it brought up other times. Like Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero, I think, were the exception to this, because they would constantly message that they have a huge wrestling background, to the point they brought in Chavo Classic, who that song I listened to is about. So, but other ones like Randy Orton, he's like a third generation wrestler. His dad was Cowboy Bob Orton, who had one of my favorite gimmicks, is that he wrestled with a cast on his arm. So, like, you know, he's like, oh, my arm's broken. But he would hit people with it when the referee wasn't looking. So,
that's really good.
So it's really fun, that one. So we're going to talk about, first I'm going to introduce the parent wrestler, we're going to talk about the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Okay.
Who was mentioned in the Shockmaster video offhandedly. He says sentences that make my brain hurt, like "I'm still feeling funky like a monkey," and other nonsense phrases like that, which I can assume he only entered his head because they rhymed.
Yeah, that seems to be the only creative impetus there. Yeah,
I would describe the way, like, his energy, he carries himself, the way that he looks. If Rodney Dangerfield decided to start beating the shit out of people.
That's a wonderful visual.
No respect. You've met one of his sons already, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
Who put Shaq through the table.
Oh, yeah, alright, okay.
So, but we're concerned with his oldest. So, just without context, what do you think Dustin Rhodes' gimmick was? First, I'm going to send you a picture of Dusty Rhodes, because you haven't seen him yet, but you've seen Cody. So, just for you to try to, like, think or find a midpoint between these two, so you have a little bit more context.
Okay. Well, this isn't what I was expecting from Dusty. And then Cody, yeah, that's what Cody looks like. Okay. What's the middle ground? Like, my first immediate instinct, and I'm a little surprised this was not the case, is to think, like, okay, Dustin Rhodes, cowboy? So, like, cowboy or country music singer are the first things that came to mind for me, and I'm certain I will be wrong, but that's where my brain, that's a conclusion I jumped to.
So, Dustin, painted his visible skin golden black, and began wearing a golden black bodysuit, and called himself Gold Dust.
That's Gold Dust?
Yep.
Holy shit, okay. Wait a minute. I actually have heard of him then.
Yep. So, there's a little bit of a reference to it that I only realized after I found out, like, when he was Dusty's son, because Dusty was the American Dream, but when Goldust came out, his little video would say Shattered Dreams Productions.
It's a good production name.
So, first, now, because you know who he is, I'm assuming you kind of know how well he was received, or...
Well, he's another character from, like, wrestling video games at the time, and I figure, this is my naivety showing again, but I would assume that if you make it to, we're going to put you in a WWE video game, that you will have gotten decently-ish famous. I'm gonna guess he had at least a little notoriety.
Yeah, so, first I'm just going to talk about his origin of where this character kind of started out with. First, I want to say Dustin is very dedicated to this role, but basically, when it was first conceptualized, it kind of plays off of Gabe Panic a little bit, because this was like late 80s, early 90s when he first came about. The outfit is kind of with him, like, in his full outfit with the blonde wig and stuff. Kind kind of fits into the definition of that specific type of drag that isn't supposed to be gender at all. That it's supposed to be like, I'm wearing fucking whatever. He'd openly flirt with men, but he also always had a pretty lady as his valet. So it was like, huh? Even one of his initial feuds, they had the wrestler he was feuding with drop the F slur on TV in relation to him.
Charming.
Yeah. Even in that 90s crowd, even though Goldust was playing a heel at that point, even that 90s crowd goes, I don't know how I feel about that when that is said.
Good. I can't.
So, Goldust has become one of the most enduring, like, long-time acts. People are always happy to see him. There's not really a gay panic level to the character anymore, but the character still seems canonically bi. Flirting with men and women, and definitely playing with the idea of, like, he has an attraction to both. Like, one recent, I would say recent, but this is like 2011, there was this guy, another legacy wrestler who was the son of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and he had like this fake gold championship that wasn't a real championship, but he acted like it was a big deal. And he had been stalking, Goldust had been stalking Ted DiBiase Jr. and his girlfriend for months, and like, eventually he gets in the ring and they're both down and scared in the corner, and he first goes in the woman's face, he's like, I don't want you. And then he goes over to the guy's face and goes, I don't want you either. And he takes the title.
Well, I like that he got downgraded from gay panic to gay bewilderment. That's progress. I can't get over how much the picture that you sent of him originally looks like fucking Zordon from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Jesus Christ!
Like, yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a resemblance.
Oh my god. That's really good.
Yep.
He's also part of one of the most iconic odd couples in WWE history. Because they partnered him with Booker T, who also has a very small role in that Shockmaster debut video. He's one of the black guys next to Sid Vicious, who's the screaming one. So I'm playing a video of them now. The way they kind of write them, it's like a one-sided married couple.
It's kind of giving me those vibes, yeah.
Like, Book, as always, like, will always defend Goldust in a bad situation, but he's thoroughly fed up with Goldust at every moment.
I'm just entertained because that's one of the like personas I enjoy putting on in like group situations, is like, I'm gonna defend you in a bad situation, but I'm also entirely done with all of your nonsense. So I really relate to that. Would you be upset if they're sold out of the cups with your face on them? That would be good.
He wanted the cup.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's fair. They should have given him one. They were so close to sticking the landing with that punchline.
And then fucking YouTubers adding their own ending. So what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, they do kind of, it's very like one-sided. I don't know. It's interesting because I feel like this is played within comedy a lot. The like harmless stalker trope of like, yeah, I'm kind of weird, but I just really like you and I think we'd make a good team. And I don't like that as much because it raises a lot of like, you know, consent and privacy issues and stuff. But if they kind of didn't do that and they just had the begrudging straight man character, pun not intended, to Goldust and shenanigans and stuff, that's really solid. I think you could have gotten a lot of mileage out of that, like really long term. It sounds like Goldust lasted for a while, actually, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, pretty much. Right now he's in AEW as like kind of like a pseudo version of the character where he's half like kind of like Goldust, but he's also kind of part himself because WWE owns the full copyright to Goldust.
Naturally.
So, Goldust, I would describe as an active gimmick if he's ever shows up in WWE again, because it does go beyond the harmless stalker trope where Booker T just kind of accepts that Goldust is always going to be around him and does treat him like a friend, but is like, you irk the shit out of me.
Yeah, which is fun.
One more gimmick from Dustin Rhodes I want to talk about is one when he like jumped ship to WCW from WWE, and I want you to watch the vignette that was introducing him, and so he's leaving WWE and the Goldust gimmick to come to WCW, and I'm going to show you this vignette. You just tell me how you think it went and how you imagine his like depiction of the character. So I'm going to play this now.
Okay. Oh.
So what do you think the deal with that character is?
Up until the end, I didn't really have a clue, and now I want to say he was like the Sandman or something because of the whole sleep thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting for. I feel like he gets kind of like is giving off kind of like an Undertaker type vibes a little bit.
Okay.
Like he was,
yeah.
So, what do you think his first night on TV looked like?
I'm gonna give this the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna guess that it was almost like a prototype Firefly Funhouse thing where it's like the spooky nursery rhymes and supernatural stuff, and this like, I don't know, like when we saw that Undertaker promo where there's like the little girls chanting and stuff, or like the Nightmare on Elm Street, the girls skipping rope and singing the 1-2 Freddy's Coming for You rhyme. I'm kind of thinking like slasher supernatural horror vibes, and I'm probably way off.
So that might have been what they'd gone for, but what happened is that
but it wasn't where they got to.
The standards and practices at the Turner Network said you can't do this character because they got complaints because people called in assuming it was a child molester character.
You know what? I unfortunately get why they would have made that assumption.
So his first night on TV, instead of doing any of his creepy shtick, he spoke very plainly. Like he's like, well, I'm here in this stupid outfit. And, and just complained about the gimmick for a couple of minutes. And then just went back to, and just wrestled under his real name for the rest of his time in WCW.
I mean, I feel like you could get... I feel... Okay, I don't think that Vince would sign off on it, but I think that the idea of a character's gimmick being, I hate the fucking gimmicks they make me do for, like, their entire career is insanely funny. I think that if you just had the one guy who's like, yeah, the writers have really bad ideas for me, and I just have to kind of do this for a while, I think that is gold. But I don't think that would have flown at all. I don't think they would let that happen.
This wasn't under Vince. This was the competing company. So
gotcha.
You could say they turned it into, like, making fun of characters like The Undertaker, or even Goldust as the previous gimmick, to just kind of be, like, shade at them. But that also kind of falls apart when you realize how dedicated Goldust and Dustin Rhodes was to playing the Goldust character. Because I have the worst piece of trivia about something he did behind the scenes when he was trying to make sure the character landed and all was correct. He went to Vince's office, looked Vince in the eyes, and offered to get breast implants if they would pay for it.
That is pretty bad trivia. What would that have accomplished?
I don't know. I don't know what Dustin was thinking, because no writer approached him about that idea, but he was very dedicated to coming up with new ideas. And when Vince heard it, he just, like, stared dead ahead for 10 seconds, didn't look Dustin in the eyes. He's like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, sweetie. No, come on. What are
I
you
can
doing?
only imagine it felt like Goldust was really in his office.
Yeah, probably. Jeez Louise.
So, what are your thoughts on kind of these gimmicks I've exposed you to today?
I think that Seven is kind of funny because, I like that he looks like the brain guys from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I don't know how much MST3K you know, but these are omnipotent, omniscient aliens from a planet where they evolved beyond the need to have human bodies. So they're just the brains being carried around. That's my immediate association upon seeing him was just, oh yeah, it's Brain Guy. I feel I'm a little irritated that the gold, like I there are some things about Goldust as a character that are kind of funny and kind of entertaining. I'm like, all right, some of this I'm kind of vibing with. And then on the flip side, I'm like, I'm mad that this one lasted for a little while because it was predicated on homophobic stereotypes and a lot of gay panic imagery and stuff. Like, that's frustrating because some of what's there is good and some of what's there is like, come on.
He's canonically friends with Scooby-Doo.
Well, good. I think that everyone should be friends with Scooby-Doo. Good heavens. I don't know where to start with these. Like, I feel a little vindicated that Shockmaster didn't go anywhere just because I personally was kind of feeling insulted by that gimmick. Just for the sheer clusterfuckiness and laziness of this is your costume and you all have to take this seriously. Like, I will not. I feel mean saying I'm glad that one failed, but I'm kind of glad that one failed. I should have realized that the graveyard for failed gimmicks would be really, really large.
There's a lot.
Yeah. Boulevard of Broken Gimmicks.
God. I just like that 7 didn't even last. It lasted less time than Shockmaster did.
Yeah. There's something fun. I mean, again, there's something really fun about if you'd actually been able to play the character the entire time as like, well, guess what my stupid gimmick is this time? I'm a Viking now, I guess. And he just begrudgingly does whatever the new gimmick is for a couple weeks. I think that would be the funniest fucking thing. But, like, I don't know. I think that would have been amazing. It's interesting that they kind of just didn't even bother doing that.
It's... oh my god. It's...
Yeah.
It's the Shockmaster has become just part of wrestling now. Like, it's part of wrestling history at this point. So, like, they've recreated that moment with different wrestlers before, with them getting dressed in the suit.
Of course they have.
It's extremely funny to me. But, like, there's a lot to a lot of these.
Yeah.
Failed gimmicks would be fun to talk... Oh, I guess I can bring up one more... because you came across him in the Lake of Reincarnation.
Yeah, okay.
The Hurricane is the name of this wrestler. And of course I googled Hurricane for an image and did not get what I wanted. He was a superhero, or his gimmick was more aptly, he believed he was a superhero. And would valiantly challenge people who were way outside of his league. At one point he teamed with Kane, and their team was called the Hurricane.
Of course.
Um, he once had a sidekick named Mighty Molly. At one point, in a case of hardcore hijinks, after he won the hardcore title, she hit him with a chair and then pinned him to win the hardcore title.
Huh. Yeah, no, I remember enjoying him a lot in a Nonstop Total Deletion, because he, the first time he gets thrown in the Lake of Reincarnation, nobody likes who he's reincarnated as, so they toss him in again, and he emerges as the Hurricane, which is when, you and I talked about this after a show, I think, when him and, our favorite, emissary of the broken universe, buried two other wrestlers alive and made a joke about how proud of them Triple H would be for burying new talent. And then they clang their shovels.
High shovel.
Yeah, that's what that's called.
That's reminded me of the other high shovel image from Tales Got Trolled, where it's Blaze and Silver, and Silver's like, "High pickaxe," and Blaze is like, "What?" And he's like, "I'm sorry, that's something Shadow and Knuckles did. Just forget I did it."
Ah, that's really good. Oh, I found a gif of the high shovel, if we want that.
I do want it.
It's beautiful. This is just us after every successful episode. I don't know why we have shovels in this scenario. Don't worry about it.
We need them.
We do. We deserve them.
This is good because I had a limited amount of GIFs, and 4 of them in my folder are different crops of Space Godzilla being sucked into the hole, and one of it is reversed.
Well, I'm glad I could find another another reaction GIF for you.
I like the reverse one. It's implying things. Because I posted the one of him getting sucked in, and it was like, "That's it, you're going to Fortnite." I should have posted this as a reply and be like, "Never mind, fuck off."
Never mind, get out of here. Well, now you can. That's a really good GIF. I like that it's reversed.
I should have sped it up.
There's still time. Okay.
So, next episode, we're actually going to probably have our first guest on the show.
Ooh.
Because AJ is very excited to talk about Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh dear. All right, that's fair.
Who I can, for a little preview, Macho Man also hated Hulk Hogan with a fucking passion. So there will be some fuck Hulk Hogan stories in there.
I feel like this is going to be, I can already tell this episode's going to probably have a couple impressions in it.
Oh yeah!
There's one.
Snap into a Slim Jim, yeah!
That's did I text you I took a picture of this specifically because I knew that we would talk about him at some point. Slim Jim is still using him to market stuff, and now they're marketing a Savage size Slim Jim that has his face and "oh yeah" on it, and it's 3 times larger than the normal ones. And it's got purple zebra print and stuff.
Yep. That's his aesthetic.
Okay. That's yeah, no, and this is this is recent. This is these, I think, were given to me a month and a half ago after a snack run. So the this is a real thing they're currently doing.
At one point they did try to replace Macho Man with Edge as the mascot for Slim Jim, and the marketing campaign is very odd. We have a little bit of time, so I'll just describe what each commercial was. Edge would be in a situation that was annoying, like the DMV or listening to a boring conversation. And he would take a bite of a Slim Jim, and from his form would sprout a goblin version of himself with devil horns, who would just start fucking everything up.
Yeah.
But in a favorable way, and then the commercial would end with Edge saying the word "spicy."
Right, the Slim Jim induced doppelganger of your subconscious. We've all seen that.
Yes, the skull. We've all seen that.
We've all seen the skull. We're gonna have to make that audio post soon for just completely outside of podcast references. Now, we're gonna collaborate on an audio shit post at some point. Well, that's exciting. It's going to be very interesting seeing how the dynamic changes when we add a guest into this nonsense.
Yeah,
I can already tell I'm gonna have to try to wrangle conversation.
Yeah. So I think AJ's gonna handle mainly Macho Man's kind of like film and pop cultural roles. I think I'll get to talk about kind of some storyline stuff, inter-wrestling drama, and also possibly his rap album.
Thank God.
Which will be fun.
And I'll mediate and be incredulous, and I will supply one piece of trivia about Macho Man if no one else mentions it first, and we'll call it an episode.
Yep. Okay.
All right, well, see you next time, everybody.
Next episode. Bye.
Bye.